Sean McAdam is the current owner and founder of the Hendrix Farms. He was born in 1969 and attended Ashbury as a boarder for 3 years, from 1985 to 1988, for grades 11 through 13. He has done a multitude of things over his career, from palm reading to politician, and we are delighted to have him with us today.
Could you briefly describe some of your experiences at Ashbury?
I think boarding was great. I had a great time being a boarder here. I wasn't living with my parents, I was living with my friends. We all had exactly the same rules. There was no question of, one friend being able to stay out later than another. It was excellent, I loved it. I left here, I went to Toronto to go to York University. I did a year of effectively slowly dropping out, followed by another year at Ryerson Theatre School, which I thought would be much more interesting, and it was. In fact, I liked it. So I left Ryerson and became a professional palm reader for a few years. And so I went back to school. I went to Queen's University and studied politics.
As you said, you worked in politics for a bit. Could you describe your political career and if Ashbury had any influence upon it?
Yeah, political career is probably a bit of a stretch, but I worked for, I ran for the House of Commons 3 times. I lost unceremoniously every time. And then I worked on the Hill. I was the director of the question period, so I wrote questions and so on for the visualization. I was drawn to politics because of my view that there needs to be more focus on individual responsibility and how each of us as individuals can contribute to society. And then while I was on the Hill, then I got married and had my first child, and who's here now. And realized that our house wasn't appropriate for. We lived in Chelsea, and it wasn't appropriate for our new family circumstances. Found that there was a big piece of land behind my house that was for sale, and I thought, well, maybe if I were to develop that and build a house, then I could sell that, and sell the other pieces of land. And anyway, next thing you knew, I was a land developer, and so I quit my job on the Hill and became a land developer, and I've been doing that for the last 15 years.
You run a rather environmentally friendly business. From your experience, what would you suggest to Ashbury going forward as a greener school?
Keeping in mind what the goal is. If the goal is to genuinely do something that is environmentally friendly, then look at the question of how how existing resources can be used to achieve that, and how what new resources do you need to import to accomplish that. And if you do that properly, chances are you're going to end up finding a sensible balance between what you need to accomplish and how you accomplish it. I think doing projects for the sake of appearing to be green or being seen to be green, or doing the sort of flagship exercises that that exist simply to showcase that you're green are of questionable value, it seems to me.
That's next, which was how the farm got started, and how you came up with the idea for it.
Yeah, well, it was really a number of factors. Because I had done at that stage 2 other projects in Chelsea, I'd become known locally as a land developer, and the farm is really, it forms a critical part of Chelsea. I mean, both geographically and also to quite a large extent culturally, because it's right at the center of Old Chelsea. It's right on the route to the Gatineau Park, and so many, almost 3 million people a year drive past and have a real sense of Chelsea as defined by this vast green space that is the buffer between the city and and the developed parts of Chelsea. And so I felt, I mean, really long before I actually owned the land, that it was important to keep an eye on what happens on that piece of land. Keeping in mind my own personal experience of what it's like to live in Chelsea, and what people's experience with Chelsea is and what they want it to be, plus my experience as a land developer. And I was lucky enough, my business partner Kerry Wallace has quite a long experience in agriculture and co-ops, and she's a lifelong sort of serial entrepreneur as well. And so we both put our heads together on this, and we both sort of set up a seemingly endless series of public consultations on the sorts of things that people would like to see. Now, there are a lot of people who've been there for 20, 30, 40 years who are looking to retire, and they want to stay in Chelsea, but because they're all large lots, sort of 1 acre, 2 acre lots tucked in the woods. It's hard when you're 75 years old. You don't want to look after an acre of land necessarily, and so a lot of people are looking for a way to stay in Chelsea. And so that notion of smaller properties and village, having an actual village experience, there's a real demand for more local services, more restaurants, more recreational type stores, and also simple things like a drugstore and a bank, and a cheese shop. All of these things that a regular village would have don't exist in Chelsea. So we saw a commercial opportunity to create that sort of extension of the commercial village, and then we also wanted to preserve agricultural activities on the farm. And so we looked at setting up an organic farm and getting that going.